started. Chief Justice Alfonso Winyidolo wants the justice and law order sectors strengthened to increase access to justice. This during the 27th Joint Government of Uganda and Development Patterns Access to Justice Annual Review at Munyonyo.
Uganda Development Partners Access to Justice Annual Review has been launched at Munyonyo in Kampala. While launching the review, Chief Justice Alfonso Winyidolo expressed the need to strengthen all justice law and order sectors to bring justice to public.
Why do you give me a brand new vehicle to take me to Moroto and you give me 30 liters and stop in Uganda? So what is the purpose? Until we strengthen the Directorate of Public Prosecution and the criminal investigation arm of the Ugandan police, and then the courts to be able to preside over cases, there will always be delays of cases for which much of it the judiciary is wrongfully blamed. Case backlog in courts of law is still a challenge that currently stands at 30.11%. That's 50,592 cases.
The EU ambassador to Uganda, Jan Sadeki, condemned the ongoing arrests and illegal detention of people, which is against the law.
The second most reported violation is denial of personal liberty, and in this regard, we would like to call for the perpetrators of human rights violations, including those related to the November 2020 events. We also note with concern reports about resurgence of irregular arrests.
Torture is not a policy of government. We have defilement. How come no one has ever accused government of having a policy on defilement? We have more cases of defilement than we have cases of torture, but no one says it's a policy of government. It is a crime in Uganda which is punishable by law.
Our continuous appeal to the government of Uganda is let's follow the law in arresting citizens. And if they have committed an offense, please charge them. Don't hold them beyond 48 hours.
Justice Minister Norbert Mau wants more funding to the justice, law and order sectors to balance services and also address decongestion in prisons.
The thin legs of justice are known. The justice system stands on the investigative capacity of the police and the capacity of the prisons to bring the suspects to jail. That is what we will guarantee.
Minister of State for Internal Affairs, General David Muhoozi, asks stakeholders to ensure the public gets access to justice and raise the need to bring to book perpetrators in human rights violation.
Have we empowered the ordinary people enough to know where to seek justice services? Are Ugandans able to consciously, independently, and purposely navigate the different service points in our justice system as they claim and protect their human rights?
The review, presented by the Deputy Senior Technical Advisor, Governance and Security Program, Canon Wairangala Sam, expressed the need to limit on the time people spend where they access justice.
The more time they spend seated waiting for the service, the more dissatisfied they are. So time is a critical factor. We need to be able to make sure that at the end of the day, we progressively ensure that people stay for less time.
Irene Faith Nantongo, Deborah Namamondi, UBC News.
The Center for Domestic Violence has put court in the spotlight in handling cases of perpetrators of child marriages and domestic violence against women and girls. The interim executive director, Center for Domestic Violence, Hawa Kagoya, told UBC that several cases relating to child marriages have been suppressed due to infiltration of courts.
Several reports have indicated a rise in the cases of early marriage and domestic violence, mainly in hard-to-reach areas. The 2021 police crime report shows that 14,570 cases of defilement were registered, out of which only 42% were in court. 939 cases out of the 14,570 successfully secured conviction.
To call for the elimination of all forms of violence against women and girls by raising awareness about gender-based violence as a human rights issue.
The report also indicates a 7.3% of girls being married off before the age of 15 and others being impregnated by their own relatives. These cases are said to have escalated during the 2 years of lockdown.
Parents and guardians should desist from treating children as commodities and sources of wealth, but rather human beings who should choose their rightful intimate partners as adults and choose whether to give birth to children or not.
Although most defilement cases and forced marriages were perpetrated by close relatives to victims, reporting was minimal as many relatives took advantage to suppress the cases. Corruption was cited in some lower courts.
Child marriage is a violation of children's rights and has dire consequences like teenage pregnancies, dropping out of school.
In commemoration of the International Human Rights Day under the theme, Unite, Activism to End Violence Against Women and Girls, human rights partners want the government to enact laws defining punishment for whoever sabotages justice. They also call for rehabilitation of victims, independence of courts of law.
We apologize for that. We will bring you that story later on. But 7 members select committee that was named by the Speaker of Parliament to investigate the activities of the National Council of Sports and Accountability of Sports Fans has commenced its investigations today at Parliament. During the interaction, the Minister of State for Sports, Peter Ogwanga, and the Secretary General for National Council of Sports, Bernard Ogwell, clashed as they gave their submissions to the committee about Nambole Stadium rehabilitation funds.
In his presentation to Parliament's ad hoc committee that was set up to investigate activities of National Council of Sports, the National Council of Sports Secretary General Bernard Ogwell shocked the committee when he revealed that the funds that were released to rehabilitate Nambole National Stadium, amounting to Uganda shillings 438 billion, was huge enough to construct 2 more stadiums. His submission, however, was shot down by State Minister for Sports Peter Ogwang when he told members that it was not 438 billion as stated by the Secretary General, but was 291 billion.
But the cost of refurbishment of Nambole Stadium, Chair, if I'm to mention, according to the needs assessment report provided to us, is 438 billion. That can generate and produce 2 more stadiums. But because that is where we are now,
I would advise my technical person to remain within NCS because Nambole is not under his management. I am aware the cost of renovating Nambole is 291 billion. That's what I found in the ministry, not 400. So I want that record also to be cleared. And the works in Nambole is on schedule.
Ogwell also revealed that a number of sports federations have made a habit of not accounting for the funds given to them, adding that many of them use the media to taint the image of the council, alluding they have not allocated them funds.
We have a number of federations who have failed to set their house in order. There are wrangles and conflicts. You find in a federation there are 4 factions. Out of 51 federations, they were only able to send us 5 finance managers and accountants. The rest were people who did not have any understanding about finance management. But in the federation, they're the ones who want to absorb the government money. So time and again, we have had issues of accountability which are being rejected by our internal audit and also external audit, and it doesn't go well with the entire operation.
He, however, says that the council's budget is inadequate, making it a major impediment to the smooth implementation of many sports activities.
Inadequate funding to the sports subsector, limited funding to the sports subsector has got in that implementation of our plan activities. Like you have already noted, the shortfall of 10.2 billion is the reason why we are meeting today, because federations could not sit. They had to make a case for them because they could not get adequate resources.
The committee continues to inquire into the concerns of the failure by the council to fund some of the sports federations. Shamim Naiga and Gloria Gutabinji, Parliament.
Now, the Ministry of Finance has opposed the resolution by Parliament of reversing remittance of local revenue collected by local government to the Consolidated Fund. In a statement presented to the House by State Minister for Finance Amos Ugolobi, the ministry says reversing the directive will require amendment of the Public Finance Act.
In financial year 2017-2018, Minister of Finance directed all local governments to remit all local revenue collections to the Consolidated Fund. The directive was intended to reduce wastage and mitigate corruption in local government, which has in turn affected service delivery in the local governments.
Some local governments were understating the budgets for local revenue. Local governments collecting and spending revenue from at source is anchored within the Constitution.
In the motion moved by Wakisuman Member of Parliament Ethel Naluima in 2021, members unanimously agreed that the directive be reversed to save local governments from financial constraints.
Parliament urging the government to reverse the directive requiring local governments to remit all local revenues to the Consolidated Fund may have been reached based on incomplete information.
The moment we send out a message to the public that we make decisions either on incomplete or half-baked information,
In response, however, Minister of Finance decided to uphold the directive, saying this might require amendment of the Public Finance Management Act.
The first quarter, we had no development budget. So, potholes grew, they enlarged, they widened into gullies to include roads like Katwe. The idea of having all government revenues put together under a single treasury account is not disputable.
State Minister for Finance Amos Lugolobi also told the House that this might cause impact to the Treasury. Whereas all local governments receive appropriations from the centre, members dispute the directive since budgets are marred by delays.
You don't allow them to utilize these extra revenues. When you allow, it comes in form of supplementaries that come in May. Now, you give them money, by the time they receive the money, the financial year is ending. Money goes back to the Consolidated Fund.
Local governments are still grappling with service delivery due to shortage of funds and mischarges caused due to delays in budget appropriations. Parliament has, however, directed Minister of Finance to review the motion and return to the House with an action plan. Susan Naonga reporting for UBC TV.
Agriculture, animal industry and fisheries is worried about the increasing levels of soil degradation, which now stands at 50%. During commemoration of World Soil Day at Busitema University Nagongera campus, Tororo District, State Minister for Agriculture Fred Bwino Chakulaga says if not addressed, soil degradation affects crop production and food security.
Recently, Uganda commemorated the Soil Day with this year's World Soil Day on the theme, Where Food Begins, with the aim of raising awareness of the importance of maintaining healthy ecosystems and human well-being by addressing the growing challenges in soil management, increasing soil awareness, and encouraging societies to improve soil health. Soil is made up of organisms and mineral nutrients that provide food for humans and animals. 95% of the food comes from soil. Soils need a balanced and varied supply of nutrients to save money, although human activities cause soil damage. At the celebrations held at Busitama University Nagongera campus in Tororo District, the State Minister for Agriculture, Freddy Bwino Chakulaga, reminded Ugandans about the significance of soils in plant and crop growth.
That soil is very important, not only in the lives of us, the human beings, but also the life of other living things.
Busitema University initiated integrated agriculture programs to address soil nutrition laws.
Here at Nagongera, we have got the training program for teachers in agriculture.
However, numerous strategies need to be put in place to curb soil nutrient loss due to soil degradation that later affects global levels for food security and sustainability.
The status of soil degradation in Uganda is above 50%. We in the ministry are doing the following projects: drawing a master plan, a 10-year plan for ensuring that worrying situation of our soil is reversed. Integrating climate resilience into agriculture and pastoral production in Uganda.
In response to these challenges, Honorable Minister, the Western University Council in 2019 approved the establishment of the Uganda Soil Institute at Western University.
The production officer at the Food and Agriculture Organization in Toro District, Patrick Okwale, told the UBC that up to 58% more food could be produced through sustainable management. This is why FAO started training local communities in soil management skills to help the tiring soil regain its fertility.
Specifically, you realize that one of the key causes of soil degradation here is loss of vegetation cover or biodiversity, which has exposed our soils to erosion. That also led to soil fertility decline.
Agriculture production will have to increase by 60% to meet the global food demand in 2050. And this can only be attained if we work towards ending soil degradation, which is at 33%. I'm Ivan Juko for UBC News.
Meanwhile, stakeholders in the criminal justice system have been called upon to protect inmates who are suspected to be living with HIV. This has been revealed in criminal justice system stakeholders meeting held in Mbarara City.
According to the research conducted by Uganda AIDS Commission, HIV and homosexuality are on the increase in prisons due to lack of space, which is a risk factor for HIV infection and a big trigger for non-adherence to HIV treatment and care. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions embarked on the campaign of kicking HIV, TB and malaria out of the criminal justice system with the launch of the project aimed to address this issue. In a training held in Mbarara City, members of the top management of the criminal justice institutions have been sensitized about human rights barriers to uptake HIV, TB and malaria services in the criminal justice system. Principal Judge Dr. Flavane Zieja, who was also a chief guest, said as judiciary they are working towards addressing human barriers.
Need to draft policies and guidelines to include the 3 diseases, need to retain peers in prisons on human rights barriers to access and uptake of HIV, TB and malaria services, need to sensitize political and members of parliament on their role in the removal of human rights barriers, sensitize top managers on their role in removing barriers to the above.
Ayebare Proskovia, a prosecutor, challenged stakeholders in the system to also protect inmates both with or without HIV or TB.
Other barrier we can talk about is the legal barrier, that is the barriers related to laws and policies. We have the HIV Act, which requires mandatory testing in cases of in sexual offenses or cases related to sex.
Due to congestion in prisons, stakeholders say this has led to the increase in the spread of HIV and TB in prisons, which is a challenge to the criminal justice system.
We are looking forward to having either expansion of the prisons or put in place mechanisms that reduce the congestion in prisons.
According to Raphael Olinga, the commissioner in charge of health in Uganda prisons, Uganda has 265 prison units and there is need to build more units to avoid congestion.
That we do screen inmates at entry. Now after screening, what next? After screening, we still put them again together with those who are negative and those who are positive. So agreeably, infection is bound to take place.
Wanda Etienne, to please step forward.
Ministry of Education and Sports has released the list of the 9th cohort of the students' loan beneficiaries for the academic year 2022-23. State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, told the media that of the 625 beneficiaries, 67% are males and 33% female who have benefited from this year's loan scheme program.
Among the beneficiaries include 23 students with disabilities who are exempted to pursue either science or humanities programs. Out of the 3,089 applications received this year, 2,417 were eligible. Of these, 1,854 were male, 563 were female.
The 625 beneficiaries being added to the scheme today increases the number of loan beneficiaries to 13,405 loan beneficiaries.
67% are male, 33% are female. Of these, 518, that is 83%, are undergraduate degree students, and the remaining 17% are undergraduate diploma students.
The 2022-2023 loan scheme targeted those who missed out on the previous academic year, as there were no 2022 USC examinations.
We are proud to support 23 universities this academic year and a host of other diploma awarding institutions. The universities increased from 22 to 23 after Victoria University received a charter in the course of this year.
The number of beneficiaries is still low, thus the call for funding to have more beneficiaries, including continuing students.
The demand for student loans has certainly surpassed the available sources. While initially the applicants averaged at 2,000, the demand is now ranging to close to 10,000.
The loan covers students' tuition, functional and research fees, and funds to cover aids and appliances for persons with disabilities. Marian Womcha, UBC News.
Zimbabwe Town Council has threatened to enact bylaws that punish truck drivers for destroying the already constructed roads. This was during the commissioning of the construction of Zimbabwe Kasokoso Road in Zimbabwe District Council by Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, which the Town Council named after him.
Rural access roads connecting to highways are very vital in economic growth of the country. Therefore, government and local governments are improving rural infrastructure, including community roads, to enable communities transport their commodities to markets. The State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, encouraged communities living along the constructed roads to utilize them.
In our road infrastructure, money has been provided and the work is starting today. We want to thank government, but I'm also appealing to you to make sure that these struct government programs, these roads, are to be looked after by you. Takes maximum care of this the infrastructure being maintained, so that we use that infrastructure to fight poverty out of our homes. Whoever is not ready to use this infrastructure to make money, to use this road to make money.
He was commissioning construction works of Zimbabwe Kasokoso Road in Luwero District. He lobbied from government. Zimbabwe Town Council also passed a resolution to name it Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo Road. Dr. Muyingo encouraged communities always to thank the NRM government for the efforts of constructing several roads in the district and promised that this 3.5-kilometer road, named after him, will lighten it. The mayor, Zimbabwe Town Council, Pasco Malachi, cautioned heavy truck drivers carrying sand against damaging constructed roads.
These heavy trucks
which are always fond of spoiling these roads, like the sino trucks, the heavy lorries. In fact, we have tried our level best to see that we put revenue on these trucks so that we can get money out of these trucks to repair these roads, but they are not compliant. So I appeal to the government, the district. Most of these trucks are for big men. If our local government authorities try to intercept them so that they pay taxes to repair these roads, we get phone calls from above. So we request the government to put up systems to control these heavy trucks. That's why you see in these big roads, there are weight bridges.
The communities commended President Yoweri Museveni government for constructing various roads in the state.
Meanwhile, a 5-year project on promoting environmentally sustainable commercial aquaculture in Uganda has officially come to an end at Kajansi National Aquaculture Research Center, with an appeal to government to allocate more funds to the fisheries sector. The European Union-funded project cost €10 million with co-funding from Government of Uganda.
At least 127 district fisheries cooperative societies have been formed, in addition to 120 private fisheries extension service providers who have received training from 35 districts through the 5-year environmentally sustainable commercial aquaculture project, which has officially come to an end today. Under the same €10 million project funded by the European Union, with co-funding from the Uganda government, a national apex board of the Aquaculture Farmers Union has been formed, as well as enhancing the participation of women and youth in aquaculture.
Importantly, it's about sustainability and the proper use and management of the environment in which fish is produced and grows, so that the fish product that we are going to be getting from the fish farms are safe for consumption and can be traded anywhere in the world in terms of standard.
The union chairman, Deus Tumusime, says that government needs to allocate more funds to the sector.
And as per the annual performance review report, aquaculture is seen to be contributing a good substantial of foreign exchange for the country. Actually, second, coffee. So I imagine if commensurate resources that are put in coffee are put in aquaculture would definitely even raise the foreign exchange to the country.
Ministry of Agriculture and the USAID representatives appreciated the project.
And we are, as MAIF, we are committed. We are going to help them to build their capacity, extend knowledge, and it's a continuous process.
Really, we are open to any kind of partnership in the agriculture sector, and fisheries is one of those that we are looking at, especially to increase exports of fish.
Under the project, 6 regional aquaculture regions, Wakiso for Central, Bodaka for Eastern, Chegegwa for Rwenzori Albertine, Lira for Northern, Mbalala for Southwestern, and Nebi for Northwestern, have been created to form a national union. Edward Kolinjuko for UBC, National Fisheries Research Institute, Kajansi.
President Yoweri Museveni has decried reliance on rain-fed agriculture as an obstacle to income and food security for farmers in Uganda. President Museveni emphasizes the need to roll out mass irrigation across the country to reduce reliance on nature-driven farming. He was speaking during the 3rd biannual conference of Chief Executive Officers. I beg your pardon, that's the biannual conference of Chief Executive Officers at Chobe Safari Lodge in Moya District. He revealed government plans to invest in solar-powered water irrigation systems.
On the production side, has been the weather. And the answer for that is irrigation. And we are doing two efforts. Effort number one is the Ministry of Agriculture to use the gift God gave us, because God gave us a very good arrangement. You have high mountains like the Rwenzori with rivers, so many rivers from Mount Rwenzori, Ruimi, Mobuku, Nyamugasani, there are so many of them. We are now just using only one, Mobuku, for irrigation. And there's no pumping here. The water is coming from up, you just direct it. So we are going to use more of those rivers around the Rwenzori for gravity irrigation. Then you have education, because all these industries need an educated workforce. Educated, but I think what Msaz was saying, in addition to education, they also need skills of particular types. But with education, skills are easier to impart. So that one is moving well, because if you see the school population is big now. It's 15 million children are in the schools. Then you have health. Health is also crucial for the workforce. Then the other one is the cross-border trade. I think that one is improving, because I can see, like with the new government of Kenya, they seem to be very, very, very open. They seem to be more supportive of regional trade. And with the Congo, we don't seem to have any problem. With the South Sudan, no problem. With Tanzania, we still have some issues, but I will discuss with Her Excellency.
We've followed what you've put in place, and we want to participate in every aspect of it, either as off-takers, as manufacturers of products, as exporters of products, and those of us who cannot participate in that way, at least participate in making the quality of life of the intended beneficiaries great. Your Excellency, the other day, we were with the Indian Association and they talked about peace, profit, and progress. Yes, we're here and we can stand because of peace.
Will be the group. And after that launch, the following persons will be.
There will be 3 group photographs, and in this order. The first photograph will involve the Honorable Mwebesa, the Honorable Msenero, and the P for that picture, the Honorable Mwebesa, the Honorable Msenero, and the board. And then after that, the next picture will have the Honorable David.
Kutusako Shimba Life ku Kampala Serena Hotel Victoria Hall Friday nga mwena December Negu Saturday nga 10 December Okwingira shinje mtwalo 15 Emeze ni kama ntomunana ya milioni 3 Hate alebadi wogulanga bujali Mtwalo 10 Eno 2 days mega concert Ku Sunday nga 11 Freedom City 16 December Chotela Mtsawe 17 December Mbarara Ajip Motel 17 December Fort Porto Au Mobuhinga Stadium Wonexilings mtwalo kumu VIP mtwale 3 Beautiful Shimba Swag Mama Ice cream Queen Gama Waku konko ni nyimba zezo na hit to hit Kati musale wunga buchalaba Tusale ko Serena Mujino wana bubaira mos butekelo Wabana bubasiria pizza matuga mpuma Kati events Leti settings Ne MTN
The Ministry of Health informs the public that there are confirmed cases of Ebola in Uganda. We, however, urge the public not to panic as the situation is being managed. The Ministry of Health further reminds the public to be on the lookout for any persons who may show signs and symptoms of Ebola. These include high body temperature, abdominal pains, diarrhea, vomiting, bleeding from the body openings such as the nose, eyes, and mouth. Please inform the nearest health worker immediately if you see anyone with these signs and symptoms. To prevent Ebola from spreading further, please take the following preventive measures: regular washing of hands with water and soap, avoid handshaking and hugging, avoiding any contact with any suspected Ebola patients. Any person who dies suddenly should not be buried but reported to the nearest health worker or LC1 immediately. For further information, please call the Ministry of Health toll-free number on 0800 100 066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and World Health Organization.
Paying for groceries the old way.
3, 4, yeah.
Allow me. Paying for groceries with the My Airtel app. You have the power in your pocket. The power to conveniently pay for goods and services. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
That's my wife.
It's our mission to secure your money.
Protecting your money is as important as earning it. It is for this reason that the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, DPF, was established by the government of Uganda to provide deposit protection to customers of regulated financial institutions. In the unlikely event that your commercial bank, credit institution, or microfinance deposit-taking institution fails, the DPF will pay you up to 10 million Uganda shillings. Keep your personal information such as national identification number, mobile phone, or an alternative bank account updated with your banker. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, contact DPF at Aha Towers, Plot 7 Lodell Road, Kampala. Call 0312 206 400 or visit our website at www.dpf.or.ug.
We are the DPF. We protect your money. Protection Fund of Uganda.
It's true what people say, that when I wash and you wash your hands with soap, we'll have less infections as Ugandans. After all, it's hands that handle money. It's hands that feed us. Hands that prepare soil for farming. Hands that we use to learn. And hands that we use for fun.
When I wash and you wash, it means clean hands for all. So, wash your hands with soap and clean water regularly to keep away infections and disease-causing germs. This message is from the National Hand Washing Secretariat with support from UNICEF.
Meet Professor Petero. He knows something every hustler in UG is gonna love.
Oh, see. You say I was just trying to get the documents to register for Airtel Money.
You don't need the documents. You just need to register. Yes. Become a safer and more efficient cash-free business today. Easy.
Not mixing your business money with your Kameza money. No, that's efficient.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back. You are still watching News Tonight. The Equal Opportunities Commission has called upon government agencies to submit their budget framework papers for the financial year 2023-24 for assessment to ensure inclusivity for all Ugandans. A member of the Equal Opportunities Commission, Serwaji Habibu, has told the press at a press conference earlier today.
Section 9, subsection 6 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 legally provides rights to the Equal Opportunities Commission to assess the national and 20 program budget frameworks of government agencies to ensure compliance with gender and equity requirements for all Ugandans. Silwaji Habib, a member of the commission, says many government agencies are reluctant to submit their budget frameworks before the deadline.
Paragraph 76 and 77 of the first budget call circular directs that all heads of programs, working groups and accounting officers to prepare and submit the budget framework papers by 15th November to Equal Opportunities Commission to assess their compliance with gender and equity.
A delay to submit the budget framework papers affects the agencies.
If you don't submit your programs, then that means that we shall make recommendations that your programs were not submitted to Equal Opportunities Commission for assessment to the Ministry of Finance and Parliament of Uganda. So when you go to Parliament to ask for your budget will be turned down, and you won't be able to implement that program that is not inclusive.
Serwaji now calls upon government agencies to urgently submit their budgetary frameworks for the financial year 2023-2024 for assessment for better planning.
Delayed submission of budget framework papers by programs affects the assessment and the certification process. The Commission calls upon program heads to adhere to the requirements of the law and ensure timely submission to guide the assessment, and people, most especially the vulnerable, to be left behind.
The Equal Opportunities Commission was established by the Equal Opportunities Commission Act of 2007 with a mandate to eliminate discrimination and inequalities by taking affirmative actions. Rebecca Natongo, UBC News.
The Archbishop Church of Uganda, Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, says by the end of 2023, 3 Anglican bishops will retire, leaving the institution with 38 serving bishops. These include James William Sebagala of Mukono, Heredadi Nsubuga Chironde, Lowero, and Wilberforce Chitioluwarira of Namirembe. Let's take a look.
The Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, has encouraged Christians in the Anglican Church to support the retired bishops. The 3 Anglican bishops, Heredadi Nsubuga Chironde, Luwero in July 2023, and Wilberforce Chitioluwarira, Namirembe in December 2023, James William Sebagala of Mukono Diocese will retire in February 2023. The Archbishop, Stephen Kazimba, revealed that after the retirement of these bishops, next year the Church of Uganda will have 46 retired bishops and 38 active bishops across the country. Kazimba was speaking during the Thanksgiving function organized by the Presidential Advisor on Politics, Omutaka Naduli Chibale, in Nakukuba, Wakiso District.
Retiring next year, 2023, beginning with the Bishop of Mukono in Feb, Bishop of Luwero in July, and the Bishop of Namirembe in December. But he saw it fit to call them and appreciate them for serving this nation. This is really a unique thing, because usually people, they hate, they speak badly about the retiring bishops. He has called them to appreciate them for what they have done, and he has given them gifts to appreciate them. He has invited a crowd of people.
During the function, the 3 retiring bishops commended Omutaka, Chibale and Christians for supporting the diocese.
Omutaka Naduli Chibale. Olw'ensonga enkulu bbiri, waliwo omuntu eyawandiika ebigambo n'agamba nti abantu bagaba si lwakubanga nti balina twebaliza ku Katonda olw'ekirabo ekyo, ate era n'olw'ekirabo ekyokubeera n'ekisa. Tuwuliriza bulungi nnyo olw'ab'ebitiibwa mwenna, era Omutaka Daniel Naduli Chibale y'omu bwe twali nga tukola omulimu ogwo. Ssebo weebale nnyo, weebalire ddala.
The Omutaka Naduli Chibale encouraged those using the media on TV and radios to mobilize youth to engage in poverty alleviation programs. The former Katikkiro of Buganda, Engineer J.B. Walsimbi, commended Omutaka Nadduli Kibale for working tirelessly in the restoration of the Buganda Kingdom.
And Minister for Tourism, Tom Butime, has written to Ministry of Finance seeking to revise, improve and enhance the budget for the Ministry 2023-24. This was during, the proposed budget for next financial year for the sector was slashed off to 80%. Let's take a look.
2, 1, congratulations!
To revamp the tourism sector in the post-COVID-19 recovery, Minister for Tourism, Colonel Retired Tom Butime, wants more funding to the sector.
This financial year, which we are now ending, we had some good funds. But the proposal now we have, or what the indication we have from government, from the Ministry of Finance, is that the budget will be cut by over 80%. And that is very, very dangerous. So we have, this morning I have written appealing to the Minister of Finance to reconsider that position so that we can have a budget which is enhanced.
So as we celebrate the 70 years, we bring commitment from the NRM government, and this is going to help us when we establish the regional centers. It will boost more the local tourism, but also the international tourism. And it will also help us to improve on the service industry, especially the hotels, market for food in the different parts of the country.
Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center is in the process of establishing a digital or virtual zoo that will enable those who cannot access the place physically and also promote the center to the world. The executive director of WEC, James Musinguzi, told members at the 70th anniversary dinner to mark the 70 years of Entebbe Zoo existence.
But also we've learned as a business that there must be business re-engineering. For example, right now we are going online so that we can set up a virtual zoo online. Whoever is anywhere in the world can watch WEC or the zoo wherever they are, and they can pay some money. We've learned a lot. Partnerships are key because during the COVID-19 pandemic, we were supported by a lot of partnerships. Individuals, corporate companies came up and supported us.
Key tourism partners and stakeholders, Energy Minister Honorable Kasule Lubumba, represented the Prime Minister, the US Ambassador Natalie Brown, Indian Association of Uganda, and members of Parliament attended WEC, rewarded and gave out certificates to the best performers in the sector. Staff and the supporting and implementing partners hailed the tourism sector.
We partnered with the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, Uganda Tourism Board, who and many others through what we called a UNDP Rapid Financing Facility to support a number of youth and women-led micro and small enterprises, particularly those in the tourism sector.
The Entebbe Zoo, because most people still call it, is a recognized leader in conservation education, instilling a sense of wonder about the magnificent wildlife found in this country to all visitors. Across the world, as environmental conditions continue to deteriorate due to climate change and biodiversity loss, conservation education is more critical than ever.
Zahara Abigaba, UBC News.
And with that, to take a quick break. When we return, business news. You are watching News Tonight.
MTN kutusako Shimba Life ku Kampala Serena Hotel, Victoria Hall, Friday nga mwena December, Negu Saturday nga 10 December. Okuingira shinje mtwalo 15. Emezi lika abantu 8 ya milioni 3. Hati alebadi bwogulanga bujali, emitwalo 10. Eno 2 days mega concert, ku Sunday nga 11, Freedom City. 16 December, Chotera Mchawe. 17 December, Mbarara, Ajip Motel. 18 December, Fort Porto, au Mubuhinga Stadium. One next thing mtwalo kumu VIP mtwale 3. Beautiful Shimba, Swag Mama, Ice Cream, Queen Gama. Waku konko ne nyimba zezona hit to hit. Kati musale wonga buchalaba. Tusale ko Serena. Mujeno wana bubaira mos butekelo. Wabana bubasiri pizza amatuga mpuruma. Kenti events. Let's say
MTN. Welcome to Friends Stadium. Everybody's ready. Wait a second, not everybody. Come on, dude, it's the FIFA World Cup. You're going to lose your seat, the ritual seat, the lucky one. Losing more than a seat, your team is going to lose. Where are you, dude? The match is about to start. Your friends won't hold on much longer. Excuse me. Finally, everything is in the right place. Hey, other hand. And you, do you have everything you need to believe?
A good school doesn't tolerate violence against children.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
Paying for groceries the old way.
3, 4, yeah.
Allow me. Paying for groceries with the My Airtel app. You have the power in your pocket. The power to conveniently pay for goods and services. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
That's my wife.
Welcome back. Now in business news, government has warned stakeholders in the public transport against hiking transport costs and tasked them to do so after approval from the Ministry of Works and Government. Meanwhile, bus and taxi operators have been cautioned against offloading and operating outside designated parks ahead of the festive season.
Government has issued new directives on streamlining the transport sector ahead of the festive seasons.
All booking offices, kiosks, and booking desks outside the gazetted parks should close with immediate effect. There should be no booking of passengers outside the gazetted bus terminals and taxi parks.
The State Minister for Kampala Affairs, Kabuye Chofa Togabye, directed taxi and bus operators against offloading and loading along streets of Kampala.
All buses and taxis should return to their designated terminals and parks for loading and offloading. No bus, I repeat, no bus, and I repeat, no bus or taxi should offload or load on the streets of Kampala.
The Commissioner for Transport, Regulation and Safety, Winston Katushabe, from the Ministry of Works and Transport, cautioned bus operators against hiking transport fares.
A similar challenge, and we invited bus owners, we invited taxi owners, the leaders, and agreed that before any fares are adjusted, they should write to the Honorable Minister of Works and Transport, justifying.
Nampima Farida, the spokesperson, Directorate of Traffic Road Safety, cautioning bus operators against reckless driving with police carrying out operations.
Ebikwekweto byatandika dda era weebiri era bijja kubaawo. Ng'ebikwekweto ebyo tujja kukwata abavugisa ekimama ku nguudo, abavuga endima ku kkubo bajja kukwatibwako, abo bonna abavuga ebidduka nga tebalina misolo gye bakkiriza kuvuga.
Sada Mubale, UBC News, Kampala.
And the Directorate of Industrial Training at the Ministry of Education and Sports will conduct competence-based assessment level 1 to 2 modular and industrial assessment beginning 6th December. The Directorate of Industrial Training, Dr. Patrick Vyakatonda, appeals to assessors to be ethical and trustworthy as they exercise their duties.
Over 14,000 candidates from 434 sitting assessment centers countrywide are to undergo the competence-based assessment level 1 to 3, modular and industrial assessment. They are to be assessed in over 100 occupations, including electrical installation, bricklaying, motor vehicle mechanics, hairdressing, among others. The Directorate of Industrial Training, Dr. Patrick Vyakatonda, says over 600 assessors, verifiers and coordinators have been deployed to evaluate the exercise. Vyakatonda calls on them to be vigilant while exercising their due responsibilities.
We are addressing our assessors. This is the cohort in December. We have started the assessment in December. Mainly the assessment in December is industrial based from industries because the training institutions have now closed. We have ESCO code of conduct. So if you violate the ethics, then we penalize you, we disqualify you, but we can also imprison you.
Vyakatonda reminds assessors and institutions to observe both assessment and health prevention guidelines.
We have provided them with the guidelines, and we shall continue training our assessors, because the assessors for DIT's case, the assessor is the final person, and you assess what you know.
The Principal Qualifications Officer Turiasimira Johnson says the Directorate has embraced digital technology to minimize the errors in the certification exercise.
We also have registration online. Those who cannot come to DIT, with time we shall be reaching out to centers to induct you. Now you can register online, but still when you call us, we connect you to our systems administrator. Isaac here.
Over 75,000 candidates have been assessed by the Directorate of Industrial Training from July up to date. Henry Muganga compiled the story.
Companies are making innovations to provide more value for their consumers. With over 30 years of turning ordinary meals into delicacies in Uganda, Royco, East Africa's favorite seasoning, is adding more spice to cooking with their latest innovation, the new Royco all-in-one mix.
We do around 8,000 tons of onions per year from Uganda, and therefore what I would urge farmers is to consistently manage their quality of product, because I think that's where we struggled. We would have been sourcing more, but until we see that quality of product stepping up, then we can get there. For now, we'll only source what is quality in Uganda, so I urge the farmers to step up their quality.
Royco's success story boils down to constantly staying in touch with the wants and needs of its consumers, and the new all-new one mix is a result of the need for the perfect combination of curry and machuzi to ensure superior and consistent flavor in meals.
We recognize that the economy has been down and that there is very little to spend, and therefore how do we as a business help the current consumer not to compromise the quality of service they are getting, but to continue receiving a good quality product at a decent cost. So what we've done, instead of you buying two things, the muchuzi and the curry, if you are a curry and muchuzi user, you can buy that in one thing. So we've put those two mixes together to address the same need, and thereby we are addressing the needs of the economy at a shrinking pocket with needs to come. So we are putting those two things together to help the consumer get more value out of the money they are spending.
The new product is good value for money as it delivers the power of two products, curry and muchuzi, in one pack.
We wouldn't be here this long if we were compromising the quality. So I can assure you of the quality as usual, and please go get yourself the all-in-one curry mix for Katogo.
Sandra Kahunde, UBC News.
The Cricket Cranes, Uganda's national men's cricket team, will participate in the first edition of the East African T20 series. The event will take place in Kigali, Rwanda from the 11th till the 24th of December this year, and will feature East African nations Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya and hosts Rwanda. The Ugandan squad for this tournament will be led by Captain Brian Masaba and his two debutants, Ronald Lutaya and Cyrus Kakuru.
In September 2022, the Cricket Cranes traveled to South Africa to participate in the inaugural T20 Africa Cup and returned title holders. This December, the team travels to Rwanda for the first edition of the East African T20 series that will feature Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania and hosts Rwanda.
Feels good to be back out there doing what we love the most. Yeah, East African games are always tough. They're always, are rivalries for us. And but it's important for us not to focus too much on that. Again, it's a one game at a time thing. We need to go out there, execute, do our processes right, and focus on that, and the results will take care of themselves. But obviously, it's interesting to go out there and play against our neighbors. We know each other quite well. We've played each other a number of times, and they bring good cricket to the table. So it should be a good series for everyone involved.
The coach has included debutants Ronald Lutaya and Cyrus Kakuru from the under-19 team to fill the gaps of the missing players.
I believe as a coach, one of my biggest principles has been how do we build depth, how do we make sure that we've got 3 players per number, and having lost 6 quality players to injury or family commitments, it's not been easy, but the youngsters have really stood up and are looking to be counted. We've got 5 kids that went to the Under-19 World Cup earlier this year. Pascal Marunji, Benji, Miyaji has played a couple of tours, Kakuru it's his first tour, and Lutaya. So exciting, new energy, young energy. So as a fielding unit, we should be so much better. I'm looking for these kids to really be fearless.
The Cricket Cranes hope to use this event to build team depth as they prepare for the 2023 qualifiers. For this particular tournament, they will use positive mindset play as their winning strategy.
Yeah, a key thing for us has been building a winning culture. So obviously we'll go out there to try and win every game. But the most important thing about that is the process, and that's something we've looked at carefully. The World Cup showed us a couple of things in terms of where the game is going. So we've adopted a more aggressive approach, just trying to make sure we can build momentum throughout the innings. And obviously that comes with working on our skill set, and that's an area we've concentrated on. So it will be interesting to see how well that works out for us there.
The East African T20 series will be an annual event to feature regional teams. This year's edition will be hosted at the iconic Gahinga Stadium in Kigali, Rwanda, and will run from the 11th to the 24th of December 2022. Grace Joyce Kemigisa, UBC News.
Well, that does it for news tonight. Thank you for sticking with us throughout the hour. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. Have yourselves a lovely night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda. Paying for groceries the old way.
3, 4, yeah.
Allow me. Paying for groceries with the My Airtel app. You have the power in your pocket. The power to conveniently pay for goods and services. Unlock that power with the My Airtel app. Visit the App Store or Google Play now.
That's my wife.
Welcome to the Living Room Stadium. It's the FIFA World Cup. The match is about to start. Food and drink ready. There's no space left for anyone. Come on, get your lucky chair. Take your usual spot. Even the puppy has one. It's preparation time. You can feel the tension in the air.